Lisa Kincaid, welcome to this edition of CNN Newsroom. Thanks for joining us. This week, America's new president signed a flurry of executive actions, and today we're seeing real consequences from his order on immigration. On Friday, Donald Trump ordered a temporary ban on all refugees and suspended immigration from 7 predominantly Muslim nations, including Syria. That's starting to affect international travellers who thought they had permission to come into the US. People with visas and green cards are being stopped. One country that's already retaliating is Iran, saying it will ban US citizens in response. Meanwhile, Mr. Trump is conducting a series of phone calls with world leaders. He's already talked with Russian President Vladimir Putin, as well as the leaders of Japan and Germany. And this hour, he's scheduled to speak with French President Francois Hollande. Well, the front line of the challenge to Donald Trump's executive order on immigration is now at New York's JFK airport. A congressman says 12 people are being detained there over Trump's order, but one was released just over an hour ago. He worked as a translator for American troops during the Iraq War, and this was the scene upon his release.
First, I'll introduce Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez, and then you'll hear from Mr. Hamid Darwish.
Well, what can I say? It's a glorious day for all of us. Here we are with Hamid, who has been released, and I want to thank all the lawyers and the activists from New York City, Jerry Nadler. But this should not happen in America. How many times do we have to come here to bring justice to an individual who provided assistance to the U.S. government? And that is the main argument against this mean-spirited, ill-conceived, ill-advised executive order. I am happy for Hamid.
Thank you, Nydia.
Thank you.
As I stated before, one by one, streets by street, if we gotta go to court, we will fight this any place, anywhere. Yeah. But we will bring justice to the immigration system in this country. By releasing him, we are making sure that we are keeping America safe. Woo!
Hi everyone, my name is Mark Dawson. I'm a supervising attorney at the International Refugee Assistance Project at the Urban Justice Center. In conjunction with IRAP, the ACLU, National Immigration Legal Center, the Yale Law School Legal Aid Clinic, Kilpatrick Townsend, we filed the lawsuit on behalf of Hamid, our client, and one other person who was still detained. Hamid was detained for over, since 6 p.m. last night, unlawfully. We filed a lawsuit challenging this. We are very pleased that he is released now. This obviously was an illegal detention. This is a discriminatory order from President Trump, and we will continue to fight for all of the refugees, immigrants, and non-immigrants that are coming to the United States and are being illegally detained. And so we are incredibly happy for Hamid to have been released. We're incredibly excited for him to be reunited with his family. And I know he's very, very tired from a very long travel and a very long detention, but he'll have a few words to say real quick, and then he's got to go see his family. So let's
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, I want to thank the people that take care of me and they support me. And they leave their family, their business, and come to support me. This is the humanity. This is the soul of the America.
Now, for more on this developing story, we turn to international diplomatic editor Nick Robertson, who joins us live from Washington. Nick, as we heard just before the break, one Iraqi man has been allowed to be released from JFK after being detained there. But this is affecting many more people, and not just visa holders, but green card holders who are permanent residents.
Yes, and as soon as you touch on the green card holders, the permanent residents, you're automatically including a lot more people, because people that would be traveling who've just got visas, you know, who were traveling and caught up sort of in the moment of this change in policy. If that had been them alone and not green card holders, then this sort of, if you want to call it a hiccup in the way this is rolling out, would have been over quite quickly. It's a 90-day ban at the moment, and as it affects green card holders, and there are many thousands upon thousands of those in these 7 affected countries who would be traveling. They'd gone back to their country to see family, coming back to the United States. They would have believe and understand they had a legal right of entry back into the United States. We're now understanding these green card holders will be affected too. So this means it's a much bigger number of people here potentially that are being affected, and over a longer period of time. What we're learning is that if you have a green card and you were expecting to travel back to the United States, you can apply to have, there is an alternate path, but that at the moment, from the early details we're getting, appears to indicate that you need to meet with a consular official before leaving the country where you are to travel to the United States, even if you have that green card, which gives you the entitlement, the legal entitlement after rigorous process already taken place to live in the United States. So there is a new step in the process if you're from one of those 7 countries that have been listed: Iraq, Iran, Libya, Syria, Sudan, Somalia, and Yemen. If you're one of those countries, if you have a green card, you cannot come back to the United States now over the next 90 days without first consulting a consular official in your country, Linda.
And Nick, of course, this is not just affecting individuals and government relationships. It's also affecting multinational companies like Google and a number of airlines who are dealing with the confusion.
Well, if you take Qatari Airlines earlier today, for example, their understanding was to allow green card holders to travel. So there's the airlines, and we've seen people turn back in Cairo. We've heard from the Emiratis as well that they're trying to, you know, Emirates Airlines, that they're trying to sort of deal with and understand these regulations. So there is, you know, the immediate problem of something that's happened very quickly, that people don't fully understand precisely what it means. That obviously will be rolled out over a shorter period of time. You have Iran's reaction, which is to reciprocate and ban Americans traveling there. But for companies like Google and other global companies around the world, this means it's going to affect potentially the travel of some of their employees, particularly companies, for example, that are headquartered in the United States, because they may have employees in other parts of the world, who are green card holders potentially, others who operate from some of these 7 countries. And the advice from Google has been very clear to their employees. If you are from an affected country, one of those 7, and you plan to travel to the United States, don't do it. So I think what we'll find at the moment is a lot of international companies, particularly those with have a base in the United States, have headquarters here, they're going to have to reevaluate, put things on pause, meetings, programs, you know, wide implications here, put those on hold. Does President Trump worry about this, or was he unaware that this was an impact or implication? Certainly it appears the White House would have gone into this knowing that there would have been some initial bumps in the road, if you will. But this move is certainly something that Donald Trump has signaled in advance he was going to do, and certainly it seems to be something that would resonate with his base support across the country here, because this is what he told them he was going to do. So some of these knock-on effects, the White House may have already sort of baked some of that into their analysis of how this would roll out.
All right, Nick Robertson, good to have your analysis on all of that. Thanks so much for joining us from Washington, D.C. We are continuing to follow all angles of this story. President Trump's immigration order effectively barring 134 million people from entering the U.S.